Make just about any electrical device smart with this. The new Aqara Dual Relay Module T2. From switches to fans to outlets, garage doors, even boilers, you can make them all smart with this. And today, I'm going to show you how. Let's go. Yo, what's up guys? My name is Shane and this channel is all about building an easy Apple home, smart home with new videos and live streams published every week. Now on the surface, this little device doesn't seem too exciting, to be honest, until you really start to think about everything it can do. Powered by AC or DC, this 2-channel relay supports both wet contact and dry contact modes, as well as an interlock mode. Now, if you don't understand any of that jargon, don't worry, I'll explain it some more in just a minute, and we'll show you some of the things that this can do. But essentially, it just means that you're able to automate a wide range of electrical devices with this. Probably devices that you weren't able to automate or add to your smart home before. Now, I obviously can't show you every which way you can use this because it is so versatile, but I do want to tackle one use case in particular that I have been asked about so many times. Many people, especially with houses that have older wiring, older houses with older wiring, often have a ceiling fan light combo that is controlled by a single switch. And these have always been tricky to automate and to make smart as a part of your smart home. You can't use smart switches or any switches really to control the light and the fan separately, unfortunately, at least not without running wire to a new switch. But with the T2 relay, you can actually split the fan and light control so you can automate them both separately. I'm going to show you how to do it, and we'll even take it a step further and add a double rocker switch so you'll have physical control for both the fan and the light switch separately without having to run wires to a new switch. Now, if you have this type of setup and always wanted to do something like this, then this video is for you. And really, this T2 device is so versatile, you can probably find some way to use it in your smart home. Now, thanks to Aqara for sending me out the new Dual Relay Module T2 and for sponsoring today's video. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you probably know that I am a big fan of the Aqara smart home products, been using them for many years in my home. So I was excited to try one of these out. Now, the T2 module is available now on Amazon for $34.99. It's built upon Zigbee 3.0, so you will need one of the Aqara hubs to connect this to. It is compatible with Apple Home, Google Home, Alexa, and it does support Matter over Bridge. The T2 relay has overheat protection, overload protection, and configurable power limits. The dry contact can press the button of an existing appliance like a coffee machine or an air freshener, essentially making almost any existing appliance smart. Now, wet contact mode would allow you to turn a dumb switch smart. So I tested this out at my house. This would be great if you want to use your original light switches but make them smart. Maybe you have some fancy decorative switches or something like that that you want to continue using. These will work great for that. Wet contact mode can also be used for electric floor heating, wall outlets, or roller shade switches. I'll also use the wet contact mode for my ceiling fan light installation. You can use it in interlock mode, which is designed for bi-directional motors like tubular roller shade motors. The T2 comes with a DIN rail mount and can be installed inside the main junction box to measure energy consumption and even break the circuit in case of an emergency. They do note, however, that the T2 is not a circuit breaker and the maximum load of 10 amps does not allow it to control a big part of household circuits. All right, so let's get this thing installed and finally solve the issue of one switch that controls a ceiling light and a ceiling fan together. Now, I've never had to deal with this personally myself since I've just always been able to use separate smart switches for my fan and light, but many of you may not be able to do that. And you might recall a recent video not too long ago where I set up a smart nursery over at a friend's house. They actually had this issue of only a single switch to control the light and the fan. So I actually did not automate their ceiling fan or light that day. Now the other switch that they have here in the box is for a closet light. I already replaced that one with an Aqara switch. so they can automate that closet, you know, when you open and close it. And again, today we will be adding an Aqara double rocker switch that will be able to control the T2 relay. The top switch will be for the light and the bottom switch will be for the fan. Disclaimer, I am not a certified electrician. I repeat, I am not a certified electrician. If there is any confusion or doubt, or you're not completely sure what you're doing, please call a professional electrician. Electrical work is not something to play with, so please be careful. With that said, let's jump in. There are essentially two steps here. First, we're going to install the T2 relay in the ceiling fan. This will give us the ability to control both the light and the fan separately through the Aqara app. And you'll also be able to control it through any smart home ecosystems or automations at this point. Then we will add the double rocker switch that will in turn be able to control the T2 relay that we install in the fan. First step is to always cut the power at the breaker before doing any electrical work. Now, unfortunately, I did have to take off the blades of the fan just to get to the wiring, but once I did that, I could get to work. You basically have a hot wire, a neutral wire, and a ground wire that comes out of the ceiling. Then our fan also has a neutral wire, and it has a wire for the fan and a wire for the light. I couldn't really film while I was up on the ladder doing all the wiring stuff, so please forgive me for that. But you can check out this diagram right here for the wiring. Aqara actually has some really good diagrams on their website for different ways that you can kind of configure and wire the T2 relay for different use cases, so do check that out. But here for my installation, essentially I'll need to put the neutral wire and the hot wire that come from the ceiling into the module. Now remember, the fan also has a neutral wire, so I tied that into my neutrals and used a pigtail there for the neutral. We will be using this in wet contact mode, so you do need to have the little red jumper wire, which does come included in the box, connected to the L out and L in terminals. Then you just connect the fan and the light wire from the fixture to the L1 and L2 terminals. So I like to cut the power on here at this point. Again, just be super careful if you do this, and I just want to make sure that everything is connected and working as expected. And as you can see, I can control the light and the fan separately now in the Aqara app. So far, so good. At this point, the wall switch can still cut the power to the entire fixture, which would also kill the connection to the relay, so we don't want that. This is what we want to fix. So I'm going to wire the switch to basically be always hot. So you could just end it there and only use, you know, the Aqara app or HomeKit or automations to control the light and the fan. But I do still want some sort of physical control on the wall. So that's where the Aqara double rocker switch comes in. What I'm gonna do here is just attach the line wire, the neutral wire, and the ground wire of the switch. And I'm just gonna cap off the L1 and L2 wires of the switch, because I don't actually want these to physically turn off or on the light or anything. So the switch isn't really doing anything except getting constant power, you know, from the box there. What that means is I can control them in the app. Basically, the app doesn't know that they're not wired to anything physically. So I can, you know, I can just use them and automate them there in the app. So at this point, I'll put the switches back into the wall. Now I just need to create a couple of simple automations in the Aqara app that says, when the top button is pressed, toggle the first switch on the T2 relay. And when the bottom button is pressed, toggle the second switch on the T2 relay. And really, that is it. Just like that, we now have a wall switch in the same single gang footprint as the previous switch that can control both the light and the fan separately, thanks to the T2 dual relay module that we were able to install in the actual fan. And the best part, I didn't have to run wires from the fan all the way to the wall for a new switch. Of course, since the T2 relay module supports all the major voice assistants, you can use Siri or whichever voice assistant you prefer to control the relay. Include it in your smart home automations and scenes. You can use this thing to turn so many appliances and electrical devices smart. Let me know in the comments what you might automate with the T2 dual relay module. Would love to hear your ideas. I'm sure there's going to be some creative stuff down there. If you want to see a video where I made the rest of that room that I was in smart for my friends, and you know, you can see everything that we use there, click this video right over here. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.